Hello there. How are you doing? Oh, it's a nice, bright and sunny, fresh Monday morning. Very fresh, quite chilly. Quite a nice day. Had a dog walk there very early on, just as it was getting light. And then now, I've just had to pop to the hospital. Every 2 years I have to have a checkup on these. I've got two metal hips. Completely and utterly wore myself out doing too much kickboxing and too much running. But there you go, I wouldn't change anything. So yeah, so I just had to pop into the hospital. You do it every couple of years, you go in. I mean, you know, you have to have an x-ray so they can see if anything's moved, which it never has, not in all this time. 16 years I've actually had the left one in, which I thought was roughly like that. So he just confirmed it there. He says you've had that in 16 years, very, very successfully, which is good news, isn't it? But when I went in there, and you know, you got to go to whatever department it was, can't remember now, orthopedics I think it might be called. And you know, you go to the reception desk and they say, you know, would you mind wearing a mask or something like that? You know, here's a mask, and they push the mask towards you, and they just say no thank you, I'm fine. You know, they don't make a fuss. I have my card ready, my New World Alliance's Peace Ambassador Diplomatic Immunity card ready. However, no one ever asked for it, you know. Just totally fine. And then they say, right, you got to go to the x-ray. The same thing, you walk into the x-ray department, and it's a different department, different reception desk, and they say, well, you mind wearing a mask? And no, I'm fine, thanks. They don't even look at you. And one of the members was telling me they went to I think, was it Singapore? I think it might have been Singapore, something like that, like over that way. And you know, she had the card and everything like that, and they said, I don't know what that means. You know what that means? Showing the New World Alliance's card, but they still don't make you wear a mask. She just went on, you know, she went, well, take it. So she took the mask and put it in her pocket, and they're happy with that. So that was in Singapore. I'm sure it was Singapore, but anyway, over that way somewhere. And yeah, I actually got someone asked me there if I would consider going to do some presentations down in Australia. Well, that's a long journey. I'm not driving that one, so we'll see. I think I need to change lane here. Yeah, but this month, a couple of weeks time, I'm going to Bolton. It said Manchester, it's not, it's Bolton. We've got a church hall in Bolton that we're going to. So you know, I'm going to be sending some emails out with some information on if you know, looking to pop along there and see us. We're in Manchester in July, so you know, this time near, it's not that far away. They reckon there's a few people that have got a ticket, so we're going to do obviously a different presentation, just advance it a little bit. You know, I think what I might do is concentrate on creating the private trust for them, you know, because a lot of them hopefully will be moved into the private, doing their LND, the lawful notice and demand. Now, on the lawful notice and demand, there's a lot of different ways that people do this, by the way, and they call it correcting the status. The way I see it, and the way I read it on the Set of KV Act 1666, which is still open and valid on the government website, go and check it out yourself, and it states you are dead. lost beyond the seas, unless you declare you're alive. So all we're doing with the lawful notice and demand, we actually write it out on there as well, you know, that under the set of caveats, you've asked us to declare we're alive, so we're telling you now we're alive, and we'll be treated as a man in the private, or a woman living in the private. Okay, and that's all that we are, a man or a woman. We don't put any adjectives, but you know, like sovereign. We're not sovereign. We're just man and woman. All right, we're not even private. You wouldn't say that. Private, living, alive, right? Free man, right? Look, I'm a man or a woman, and that's it. So, and that's all you ever have to declare. And once you've done the L&D and you've told them you're alive, you know, we're actually just added a little bit into it over the weekend there. A little bit of help from Dime Bar, and I thought, yeah, I was thinking about this a while ago, and I'd just been so busy and never done it, and he just reminded me, so we did it over the weekend. And now, although you will still send the forms out, the lawful notice and demand out to the Sinister 7, you can use exactly the same form, exactly the same L&D printed out 7 times, just put the address on the envelope to them. Alright, but the names inside the documents, we've actually got them all inserted now. All of the names are inserted. So you don't need, like, you know, like do a different one, and if you make a mistake, you know, it looks bad. You know, you just made it slightly more easily done for you. Alright, so you can go and check that out if you like. And obviously we use a lot of Bible references in there because it's very powerful. Now we know that they've, like, you know, completely ruined the Bible, but there's still a lot of powerful phrases in there, which is an allegory, you know, and it tells you point blank, be not a respecter of persons. You know, I mean, how plain can you be? Be not a respecter of persons. So we are not a respecter of persons, and that's all legislation. Legal legislation is all about a person. Not once does it mention anything about a man or a woman, and they know it. They comprehend it completely, and all they ever try and do is to trick you, right, into believing that you are a person, and any person doing this commits an offence against this, or any person doing that commits an offence against that. An offence, what is an offence? Alright, it's not a crime. You haven't committed a crime, okay? And without a crime, then you have not anything to worry about. If there is no victim, there is no crime. A victim, right, has to be there as another man or another woman who you have caused a harm or a loss. And if there isn't a man or a woman who you have caused a harm or a loss, then corpus delicti. Where is the body of the crime? There is none. End of story. So, like, yeah, if I did go, well, I do go to Bolton, I'm going to concentrate. There's a car broke down there. Let's move over here a bit for him. I'm going to concentrate on doing the private trusts for them. And people, again, it's like now and again you come against or speak to someone who loves to be legal, someone who loves to be a person, you know, these lawyers and solicitors, and they're saying, well, yeah, but if you have a trust, then you have to register the trust with HMRC because the government said so. Right, the government may have said, you know, something about like a statutory trust that has to be registered, and fair enough, if you want to have a statutory trust and you want to be a person in a statutory trust, feel free, right? Free will and all that. You want to go and get some needles in your arms and filled with nanobots and poisons, feel free. right? You want to have a statutory trust, register with the HMRC and pay, feel free. But we have a private trust. Being a man or a woman in the private, it's not in the same jurisdiction. It's not written under legislation, right? If it's not written under legislation, then it can't apply to legislation. We have got a private trust. We have created our law. Our law. We have expressed our law in our private trust, and it is under the natural law of the creator, and that's exactly what it is. So it is not under the jurisdiction of any legal act or statute. No legislation can or does or will apply. So we don't register it with anybody. And if anyone says anything to you, like, you know, if you have tried to register it, you know, or like say, you know, you're going to get like a mail address somewhere, and they say, well, the mail address is for Peter's private trust, for instance, and they say, all right, well, if it's a trust, then you have to register it with HMRC, and I need to tell the HMRC, right? You put them on notice, right? You get their name, okay? So if it's Fred Smith, to the man Fred Smith, who at times acts as office worker, Agnes in the office, yeah, okay, and you put them on notice that if you hinder my private trust, then you are committing a wrong against I, and I will seek remedy, or something along those lines. All notices like this, standing as a man, all right, they have to be done from your heart and from your knowledge. You can't have like templates like that. So yeah, you can listen to what I'm saying and write it down, but you don't have a solid template, okay? Not when you're doing this type of notice. So you know, but anyway, on the private trust side, and once you've actually created the documents and you've created them, are you man, are you woman, you don't use any legislation in there, you don't use any legal terms. It's not like, you know, under this act and that act, and I'm allowed this and I'm allowed, because that's not private anymore, that is public, because you've used the legislation. So just bear that in mind, okay? So hang on, I crashed there once on that corner. It's always been very slippy. There was a mine shaft there, and it made the road uneven and very slippy. And I went into them bushes, slid off the road into them bushes years and years ago, but I'm still nervous driving past it. But anyway, so when you've created the documents and then you're going to have to express them, we do it in several different ways. We do it, so if I was doing them for somebody, all right, so I've got 2 parcels that I would create. The first parcel is the main trust deed, okay, all right, so that would actually be in a hardback folder, all fully printed up on the blue paper, and then it mailed out to them so that they're going to have to sign for it. And then the next part I do is I actually have a separate envelope. This is dodgy. And in that envelope, like, we put the deed of memorandum of creation, okay, and we put the assignment of res or property into the trust. And what I do is I actually get I buy the Royal Mail sign for, first class sign for I use, and I get the tracking number, and I put the tracking number inside the documents. I put them in the certificate of creation, trust creation. I put them in the memorandum of trust creation. I put them in the assignment of property, and also in what we call the statement of interest, which is an extra form. You don't really need it, but it's just in case you wanted to put a notice up in any notice board, say in the library or in your post office. We've got one in our local post office that I go to, public notice board. So you could put your statement of interest up in there, which is just declaring, the same as we do it in the newspaper, that you've created a private trust was created by being expressed on this date. Trust name is Peter's Private Trust, and property was deposited into the trust with title number property 123. You don't give them an address of the property if it was bricks and mortar, or even, you know, you're whatever it would be, you know. Anything can be deposited with value into the trust, even your own jewellery, It's still an asset that can be deposited to create a trust, and then it satisfies the three certainties of the trust law, which is law, right? There has to be three certainties for it to be a valid trust, which is the certainty of intention, i.e. did you intend to create a trust by this action? It's pretty difficult to accidentally email yourself some documents with Royal Mail tracking numbers on if you didn't mean to create it. So and then also the certainty of subject matter. So if part of the documents is the assignment of property into the trust with the Royal Mail tracking numbers put in there, so you've got proof of the tracking, proof of the posting of the actual package, and then proof of the receipt of the package with all dates on and all the coinciding Royal Mail numbers. All right, so that also proves like the certainty of subject matter. And then obviously on the trust creation document, which again has got the Royal Mail tracking numbers on, we have a trust creation certificate as well as a trust creation memorandum. And on the memorandum we have it like the Royal Mail tracking number on both the certificate and the document memorandum, and we also name on there the beneficiaries. So that is the certainty of objects. So then that's the three certainties covered with all of that creation and expression, and that's exactly what you need. That is a lawful trust. You have a 100% lawful trust, and then you just maintain the trust, and then you've got like another memorandum which you could use to add new trustees, take away trustees, change beneficiaries, whatever it would be, and you got the memorandum that can change it all. And then you also have the assignment of res or property, so then you can add more property at any time, you know, or take property out, which you don't really want to do that, but like, you know, at least you can do it. Okay, and that's how you actually express it. Then, all right, remember you got the statement of interest, which you can put on a notice board, the local notice board in a library or post office. So that's another way of expressing it, the second way, if you wanted to. I never have, but it's there to do. I just do the extra document. But we do the newspaper one, and when we're doing the newspaper one, the thing is we put it in as what, it's funny because we put it in as a public notice, all in capitals, public notice, in the public notice section of the newspaper, which makes it a legal notice, funnily enough, but we don't put any private information in. So all we do is say same thing in the little ad. It's just a tiny little square. The private trust was created on such and such a date by being expressed. Trust name is Peter's Private Trust. Property was deposited in with title number property 123. You don't put any address on, you don't put any private information, and then just put, you know, any inquiries, email me at this email, and that's it, you know. And the price varies to your local newspaper. But you just need it in a little local newspaper. You don't need to put it in the Gazette, right? They'll not let you anyway. You got to have an account, and it costs fortunes, and you got to be this, that, and the next thing, and you don't need it, right? And my local paper, they expressed it. They advertised it like online, on their online version. So I've actually expressed my trust worldwide, as well as in the newspaper locally, okay, and also through the Royal Mail, right? So 100% got that down, that it's been expressed, and it is a valid, lawful trust. Okay, so that's how you do it. So we're going to go over that like in detail on what documents to create, how to create them, and what to write where. Definitely at that Bolton event. And they also want me to do it, go down to Australia and help them. I'm not doing that for a weekend, that's for sure. It's a long drive, or a long flight it would be, just to stay there for a weekend. Although I once did fly from Newcastle to Los Angeles, California for the weekend. Stayed near Muscle Beach, but not recommended, very tiring. Alright, so I think what I'll do, I'll shoot off now. I will not be going live at this Friday coming, I think, which might be the 14th, because we've got loads going on, classes, spiritual classes, etc. All right, but I will be doing the members only on the Thursday evening, so I will see you then. Take care, everybody.